Hadith number 23. عن أبي ذر رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إنكم لا ترجعون إلى الله بشيء أفضل مما خرج منه يعني القرآن. Hazrat Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "You cannot turn to Allah and gain nearness to Him with anything superior to that which directly proceeded from Him, that is the Holy Quran." It is evident from numerous ahadith that there is no better means of seeking nearness to the presence of Allah than recitation of the Quran. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah says, I saw Almighty Allah in a dream and asked Him what was the best means for seeking nearness to His presence. Allah said, O Ahmad, it is my word, that is the Quran. I inquired whether it is only reading while understanding the meaning or reading without understanding. Allah said, whether by understanding the meaning or without understanding, it is a means of nearness either way. That the reading of the Quran is the best means of getting access to Almighty Allah is explained in the commentary of Maulana Shah Abdul Aziz Dehlavi rahimahullah, who is an authority for posterity. Its substance is that suluk in Allah, that is the path of mystics towards Allah, which is also called the stage of ihsan, can be attained in three ways. Firstly, tasawwur, known as meditation in Sharia, and muraqabah in the terminology of mystics. Secondly, remembrance of Allah by repeating words of praise for Him. And thirdly, reading of the Holy Quran. Since the first method is remembrance in the heart, so there remain in fact two ways only. First, the remembrance by heart or by word of mouth, and secondly, recitation of the Quran. The essence of zikr is that the word which is used for or refers to Almighty Allah should be repeated over and over again. This repetition helps the mudraka, that is the faculty of understanding, in concentrating upon the person of the one being remembered. It would give rise to a feeling of immediate presence of that person. Constancy in this state is called ma'iyyat, that is togetherness, which is referred to in the hadith below. لا يزال عبدي يتقرب إلي بالنوافل حتى أحببته فكنت سمعه الذي يسمع به وبصره الذي يبصر به ويده التي يبطش بها. My servant ceases not to seek nearness to me through nafil, that is optional deeds, until I make him my favorite, and thus I become his ears, wherewith he hears, his eyes, wherewith he sees, and his hands, wherewith he holds, and his feet, wherewith he walks. It means that when a person, through excessive devotion, becomes a favorite of Allah, Allah becomes a guardian of all the limbs of his body, so that his eyes, ears, etc. all submit to his will. This blessing is said to be the result of constancy in nafil salah, because farz, that is obligatory salah, are specified and do not admit of excess, while nearness and close attachment demand constancy and concentration as mentioned above. But this mode of seeking nearness is exclusive for that pure and beloved being, that is Allah, and it is impossible to seek nearness to anybody else by remembering His name over and over again. This is because the one whose nearness is being sought must have two attributes. First, he should be omniscient, so that he comprehends the zikr of all the zakirin, whether by word of mouth or by heart, irrespective of language, time and place. Secondly, he should have the power to illumine the understanding and fulfill the yearning of one who remembers, which is known as dunu, that is nearness, tadalli, that is proximity, nuzul, that is descent, and qurb, that is nearness. Since these two prerequisites are possessed only by Allah, the above-mentioned method of seeking nearness is effective only in respect of Him. The following hadith Qudsi, that is a revelation of Allah quoted by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, points to this fact. من تقرب إلي شبرا تقربت إليه ذراعا. Whoever comes near me by 1 arm's length, I go near him by 1 ba', that is a stretch of both arms. Whoever comes to me walking, I go towards him running. This similitude is only for illustration. Otherwise, Allah is above walking and running. It only means that those who remember and seek Him are helped and looked after by Almighty Allah in a measure far in excess of their own inner urge and efforts. This is so because it behoves His benevolence. So, the steadfastness of those who remember Him invokes constant attention and results in the descent of favors of Almighty Allah, the Glorious. The Quran altogether is zikr of Allah in the sense that no ayat of the Quran is devoid of remembrance and attention towards Allah, and as such it bears characteristics of zikr as mentioned above. There is, however, another distinction of the Quran which is the cause of increased nearness to Allah, and it is this, that every discourse carries the qualities and influencing traits of the speaker. It is obvious that recitation of the poetry of sinful and wicked people has its evil effects, while the verses of righteous people exercise a noble influence. It is for this reason that excessive study of knowledge of logic and philosophy produces pride and conceit, while excessive devotion to the study of hadith leads to humility. Although as languages, both English and Persian are equal, they produce varying influences upon the readers due to the divergence in the beliefs and attitudes of the various authors. It can be concluded that repeated recitation of the Quran will result in the readers being influenced by the qualities of the originator of the verses and in developing a natural affinity for them. Moreover, if a person is devoted to the publications of an author, he naturally starts liking and favoring that person. In the same way, the reader of the Quran is sure to win Allah's abundant grace, which in turn promotes nearness to Him. May Allah bless us all with His favors.